why are men so afraid of women? I don't know. And I think that the Pussy Riot movement and those girls kind of really bring that, I don't know, they just make you have to deal with them in a certain way. And clearly Putin was afraid. To see it being focused in that way is extremely powerful. To something that started as a grassroots sort of movement and see it be able to be targeted in a way as like a weapon or something is quite impressive. Why are they being tried as hooligans? They're really being tried as making dissident art, because it's clearly like, to me, an art performance. Not that, I think the music is fine and great, but it's the whole thing, and it's clearly not commercial music.
Черные рясы, золотые погоны, все прихожане ползут на поклоны, призрак свободы на небесах. И правит отправить Сибирь каталог. Глубоко губы, склоны седой, ведет протестующих снова конвой.
I hope the court will rule with a just decision. If the band, let's say, defiled a sacred place in Israel, they would have to cope with some tough guys there and would face difficulties when attempting to leave the country. Or if, for example, they went to the Caucasus and defaced a Muslim shrine, security wouldn't have enough time to protect them from public anger.
I can't believe that Putin, when he was asked to comment on it, said, well, he hoped the courts would be lenient, but the other countries where these women would be stoned to death. I think it does bring to light their whole process, their whole lack of judicial process. And it really, I don't think people will look at Putin the same way. Or, I think we've all been in denial or just wanting to think, oh yeah, they're capitalists now, so everything's more or less okay or something. I hope that people don't forget about this, because I think that it really has clouded over him and in the way things really are there.
After all, only women were dying. After all, only women were dying. After all, only women were dying. After all, only girls were dying.
The thing with the Riot Girl movement is, they didn't really, they didn't want to do interviews, or they were afraid always of being co-opted by the mainstream press, which is a legitimate fear. And, then sure enough, Spice Girls come along and packaged as girl power. And, that really, at that point, it kind of, I think the initial first generation of those people, they were already sort of kind of trying to move beyond that. And yet women make natural anarchists and revolutionaries because they've always been second-class citizens and kind of having to claw our way out. The whole bondage aspect of punk rock was not that they were into S&M, but it was like society has put us in bondage. And the other aspect of Pussy Riot wearing the mask for anonymity, but it's also we're just objects here, and you've made us into these kind of, objectified objects, I guess.
It makes you a slut, right?
It seems to me, first of all, from what I understand from doctors, that's really rare. If it's a legitimate rape, the female body has ways to try to shut that whole thing down.
It's interesting, I was talking to this friend of mine who is really actually concerned about the fear of women in this country, and what's going on in Washington is really indicative of that, and just the real fear of female sexuality or something, and he's wondering why there aren't more men who are actually disturbed by it too, or bringing it up, or like that it's beyond just being a kind of a woman's issue in a certain way. It's just, one always thinks things are going to evolve, but it really doesn't work that way. It's like 2 steps forward, 1 step back or something. I think it would be amazing. It's something to work towards. It's good to have goals. When you mentioned the song Cool Thing as an influence, I had to I was thinking about the lyric. At first I was like, why would that really influence them? And I thought, oh yeah, it has that line like fear of a female planet. And anyway, that made me feel good that was kind of heard across the big wall or whatever, whatever it is there.
What are you gonna do for me? You know, liberate us girls. The male, white, corporate, oppression, free the people planet, teenage girls and a pet. Come on, baby. Come on, baby. Come on, baby. Come on, baby. Like this.
Глубоко губей, склоны седой, ведет протестующих бездомных конвой. Самое святейшего не оскорбишь.
Женщинам устражать и любить! Страсть, страсть, страсть Господня! Страсть, страсть, страсть Господня! Страсть, страсть, страсть Господня! Страсть, страсть, страсть Господня!
God's wrath.